Hello everyone, welcome to a new Football Manager 2017 series. We're trying something a little bit different today. You might have been able to work out from the thumbnail or from the title. It is called FUT FM, and the idea is to mix elements of FIFA Ultimate Team with Football Manager 2017. Now I'm not going to betray my Football Manager channel by playing FIFA, but we are just stealing a little element from it, and the element we're taking is pack openings. So the way this will work is if we go to the squad scene, you will see that it is empty. We also don't have anybody in, well, we have people in the under-23s, but we aren't really going to use them unless we absolutely have to. A lot of these are all young players anyway, so the core idea of the game is to run it like a Football Manager save, but at the start of each episode, we're going to open a pack on FIFA, or a FIFA pack, from which we will draw the makeup of our squad. So we'll open a new pack each episode. Each episode will be about 6 games, so if we get into the Champions League, that could be 60 games, that'll be 10 packs. We are capped at having 30 players in the squad, so if it's a transfer window, we're allowed to sell the players. We can use money to buy new players. But if we're not in the transfer window and we open a pack, we have to terminate the contract of an existing player to make room. Now, one of the other things that we can do with our money, you'll see we do have a bit of cash in there, is we can actually buy packs as well. So if we think spending the money on a pack is more worthwhile than buying a particular player, we can do that. But we might feel that we haven't packed enough players in certain positions and we need to strengthen the squad financially. So the idea is to give us a bit of flexibility. The exchange rate that we'll use is that a 25k pack is 25 million, a 50k pack 50 million, a 100k pack 100 million. So that is unlikely to be the best use of money unless we really want to try our luck. But we can maybe adjust that. I'm open to comments and suggestions in the save, so if you've got ideas for things that we should add, maybe you want to change it to a reward-based system for packs, and we can do that. To keep the packs relevant and stop me getting players who are in their 30s as we go into the save, we will only be doing a 5-season challenge. So the challenge over the 5 seasons is to, with West Ham United, A, not get fired, B, win the Premier League, and C, win the Champions League. We need to do all those 3 things over the next 5 years, and then we will end the series. It does mean we should get about 50 episodes out of this series if it all goes to plan. Obviously we could get sacked in the first game. I think that's when it would be most likely to happen. The reason I chose West Ham was that they've got a good stadium, they've got the facilities, they're kind of in a new period for the club, and their board expectations are not too bad. Top half, which is where I should really be going for anyway. The cup competition is not massively important, but they're also in the UEFA Cup. In terms of the packs that we open, the top half of the Premier League allows us to open 50k packs. The Champions League, if we're in there, allows us to open 100k packs. Otherwise, we have to keep opening 25k packs. So if we do manage to get into the top half, which we really should be doing, we do start to get more odds of better players, and that's to make sure that we keep the squad fresh and can actually progress, because the transfer window will limit our ability. So that's a general overview of what we're trying to do. What we're going to do in this first episode is open a 100k pack, which will give us, I think, about 24 players to start the season with. We can then maybe do some transfers in the transfer window. We'll get through pre-season, and then we'll get through at least one match on the other end. And then we'll go from there, really. So the way that we're going to open these packs, we don't actually use FIFA. There is a website called FUTWatch. This is not a sponsor, but it is a good way to kill some time. And you can basically open FIFA packs completely free. You can't use them in game. It's just a sort of to see what the odds are of getting things, really. And all you have to do is log in. You don't even have to log in, but you have to log in to get a 100k pack. And then we're going to click open. We'll get 24 players, all rare, and the 24 that show up we will have to sign in game. I've got the FM editor, which you can get on Steam, and we are not really going to use any of the things here except for allowing squad registration at any time, and showing all players in the search, just to make it easy to pull players in. We won't be using all the morale stuff or tactical familiarity or anything like that. It is a normal FM save for all other intents and purposes. But One little thing to note is that sometimes some of these players in the packs are not in my database that I've loaded up. So I've got the big 5 leagues in Europe loaded up. It's a large database that should give a lot of scope for the players coming up in these packs, but sometimes if there's an American one or somebody playing in the Australian league, they might not show up. So if a player does come up in a pack but is not in Football Manager, we can't sign him, we don't get to replace him. It's just the way things are. So hopefully that doesn't happen too much in this first pack, otherwise we could really be in trouble and we'll be relying on that transfer window. So let's open the pack and see who we get. Well, that is not too bad for starts. Rashford is up front. We'll get a good 5 years from him. Carlos Vella's pretty good. Campbell's not too bad in centre midfield. Maxwell at left back. This is actually quite a decent team. Peruzzi at right back's usually quite a good player. Vieto up front. This is actually a very good little squad. I think it's reasonably well balanced too. Troy Deeney as well. The squad is going to be very unfamiliar, and the first 10 games are going to be the hardest, I think. Just getting past that period where you can get the sack by sort of September, October time. I think this is a pretty good team, in all fairness. I think we'll do quite well. We've had quite a bit of pack luck here. No major superstars. Rashford probably the pick of the bunch. Villa is quite good. But something solid that we can build the team on. I think this is probably a top half team overall. So what I'll do now is I'm going to find these players in the game and I'm going to bring them into the club. So here is the squad, and as you can see there are a couple of very glaring options. So when this pack came up I thought it was actually quite a strong team. I was a little bit concerned we might have made the game a bit too easy. But you'll see the main challenge of this game is not necessarily getting the best players, it's getting the players in the right positions. So we've ended up with about 12 players who can play up front if we need them to. Luckily quite a few of them play on the wing. But we have virtually no centre midfielders. We've got Kevin Campbell, who's quite a good player, one of our best. But yeah, we just don't really have any centre midfielders. And I usually like to play with a defensive midfielder and 2 centre mids. So that could be quite a problem. We've also got loads of fullbacks as well, and only 3 or 4 players who can play across the centre, and there's only 1 goalkeeper as well. Now the biggest issue I've got is that quite a lot of these players might actually not want to be sold because they've only just, in their minds, moved to the club. So we might not actually be able to get any bids in on these players, which could become quite a big problem. We also have a slight issue in that we don't have a transfer budget and we have virtually no wage budget, so we might be relying on the under-23s to do a job for us, because I think we're going to need to, unless we can shift some of these players, which I think is going to be so difficult. But this is the team. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments down below, if you've got suggestions for things we can do with the team. And also subscribe. If you're looking forward to the rest of this series, you've got ideas, you want to contribute, let me know. And do subscribe. I think it's going to be quite a lot of fun. It'll be very frustrating to begin with, but hopefully we'll be able to pull together a really strong squad. What I'm going to do now is get through pre-season, set up our tactic, our backroom, do everything I normally do in a Football Manager save. I'll meet you the other side and we'll play our first game of the season, which I think with West Ham is actually in the Europa League, so it might not even be the end of pre-season. But I'll see you then. Well, we are through the early stages of pre-season, and as you can see, we have done incredibly well so far, beating the likes of Ajax along the way. I've been really impressed with the way the team has actually come together. I think the tactic we're using seems to be pretty much perfect. If we go and have a look at it, it's a 4-2-2-2, I guess, or 4-2-4, 4-4-2, however you want to say it really. But it's kind of tailored to where we have an abundance of positions, which is up front and on the wings. We have promoted Reece Oxford, who was still in the under-23s when we came in, so I think we're allowed to use him. But the players that we promoted still apply in the 30-player squad limit. So if we need to make room, Reece Oxford could be on his way out. I doubt we will get rid of Reece Oxford. He's a good player, and in 5 years' time he could be a great player. But there's a few others that got promoted alongside him. So if you see names that weren't in the pack opening, it was because they were already in the under-23s. We promoted them up to the club. Now, one of the problems with being in Europe is actually that quite a few players can't fit in the squad registration, and that will become a problem when we get into the Champions League stages. Luckily, we're not going to have squad registration deadline limits. We're going to be allowed to register players whenever we like. So obviously we'll be bringing in players who otherwise might be cup tied or have other issues, and we don't want to handicap ourselves too much. But I think we've actually done quite well, and this team looks reasonably strong as we go into the game, which is the UEFA Cup third qualifying round. It's against Slavia Sofia, so that could be. It should be quite an easy game, if we're being entirely honest. I'm looking forward to seeing the tactic in action because I'm very impressed with the results, but I've not actually managed any of these games. I always let the assistant do pre-season. So what we're going to do is jump into the match. We've got Vietto and Rashford starting up front. I think they could be a long-term partnership. They're both really well suited to their roles up top. Carlos Vela and Pato on the wings. Not too worried about those positions either. It's Campbell and Munir in the middle. Campbell will probably stick around for quite a while until we get some really good centre midfielders in. Peruzzi, Oxford, Tagliafico, Kolasinac, and Kune in goal. So quite a few of these players are not the greatest in the world. We've got work to do in terms of future pack openings. One of the big problems is we are well over the wage budget, so any transfers are out of the window at the moment, if you excuse the pun. But yeah, I'm very excited by this team. We did get Mauro Zarate back. He was a former West Ham player who's now at Fiorentina. We've brought him back to the club. But let's jump into the match and see how our brand new team do in their first ever FUT FM match. Kolasinac finds Pato. He swings the ball in. Rashford's there. It's off the crossbar. Marcus Rashford. Oh, it's gone in. The two defenders have fluffed their lines. Their first ever goal is an own goal. We're 1-0 up. Peruzzi sends the ball forward to Vela, who's running at the defence, absolutely tireless. But instead we've lost the possession. Now Nachev coming at us. Doesn't have much support though. I'd imagine we're going to get this ball back eventually. Kolev across to Taylor. They seem scared to come forward, even though they're a goal down. And Tagliafico's taken the ball. Oxford out to Peruzzi. Now Carlos Vela. He can have a run through the defence. Still got it. Finds Vietto. Can he find Rashford? It's back to Campbell. Kolasinac sends it in, and Vietto touches it home. We're 2-0 up and it's looking easy. Peruzzi out on the right. He's got players in the centre. We are lining up, and there's Pato. And he's hit the woodwork, but Vietto just touches it into an empty net. We're 3-0 up, and we are playing such an aggressive tactic. I'm expecting a lot of goals. Campbell finds Pato. He's got a man over on his left. Here's Kolasinac, who puts it in. Rashford can't score, but Vietto has got his hat-trick on his debut. He might be our new star striker. Munir in the base of midfield, looking to pull the strings, finds Troy Deeney on his debut. Peruzzi into Caruti, and it's a penalty. 4-0 up, and now we have a penalty. And I think it's safe to say this tie is over. Troy Deeney to step up, and he smashes it into the top corner. 5-0. Oh, the ball's been slipped through, and Kusharski has scored. It's 5-1. I think with this tactic, we have to expect to concede goals, but I didn't see it come in today. Munir picks up the ball. Oxford out to Peruzzi. He's got options. Picks out Caruti, and there's Moussa Sow. A great pass, that one. Not over yet. Campbell to Sow. Kolasinac sends the ball in. Troy Deeney's there, and Troy Deeney scores. 6-1. Moussa Sow on the left. Sends it back. Kolasinac to Sow. Now Campbell on the edge of the area. Will he shoot? He does, and it's 7. We're still not done. And that is the full-time whistle. What a victory in our first episode of the series. Granted, it's against a quite poor team, but we are definitely into the next round. Absolutely incredible. It's actually the first hat-trick I've ever scored in Football Manager 2017. Not that I scored personally, but my team scored. What a win. 7-1, and pre-season's just getting better and better. So what we'll do now is we will end the episode here. Next episode we will play the Slavia game, and then we will kick off the season with games against United, Everton, Liverpool, Arsenal and Spurs. What a run of games that will be. Wow. Maybe a couple of those will get bumped if we have another qualifying round. I think there is a 4th qualifying round, so that might just bump people out of the way. The group stages start, I think, in late September, early October, so we should be okay on that front. But also, next episode, we get to open another pack. Now, next time, it will be a 25k pack. So it won't be as impressive as the 100k pack that we opened, and we also won't be able to take all of the players, so we're going to have to pick which ones we want, who's going to fit best into the team. Remember that 30 player limit. I've not been successful in shifting anybody yet, so it looks like we are going to have to release players, which might not be a bad thing. We've got a lot of dead wood in the squad, and the squad will get more balanced as time goes on. We can also pick the players who are better suited to our tactic, which I don't think I'm going to change because it's fantastic based on that performance. But that is it. I've gone over the premise of what this series will be about, but I am very interested to hear your views on it. I'd quite like to know your ideas, suggestions, if there's challenges we can throw into this, different things that we can do. Do let me know your ideas. I hope you enjoy the idea for this series, and give the video a like if you're looking forward to the rest of it. Don't forget to subscribe as well. The new episode will be up soon. I am still going to carry on doing my Newcastle save, so don't worry if you're a big fan of that one. But until next time, see ya!